All right, we're live here again with another session of, bring in someone from the Bitcoin trading community. And today we have Bob Marley from TradingView. He's the current CTO and co-founder over there at TradingView. And we've done a number of these hangouts with some of the exchanges. Me and Flibber tend to host them. You can find us on Twitter at Flibber for Flibber, and me, I'm at Bitcoin Bravo. And then you can find all of us at the Trader Squawk box, the Whale Club. It's a TeamSpeak server where it's just all audio based, just kind of what's going on in the market. It's very chaotic, and there's no real moderation that goes on. It's just trader talk in its raw sense. I'll post the server link in the show notes. So without any further ado, I'll introduce Bob Marley. So Bob, how did you come about founding TradingView and, see that as a need for the trader space and such?
Yeah, hello, good morning. First of all, thank you very much for arranging this meeting. I really appreciate your efforts, and thank you very much, Bitcoin community, for being with us. Our background is that originally we developed a desktop trading platform called multi-charts. We did it like about 7 years ago, and we spent a lot of time and efforts to build it. At some point, about 2 years ago, we decided that the new technology, including HTML5 and cloud computing, allow us to do more advanced platform, which sometimes in the future will replace all existing desktop platforms. So a couple of years ago, we started to develop TradingView. And as to the Bitcoin specifically, about a year ago, I decided to run basically a pilot project and introduce Bitcoin for TradingView users, just in order to try how it works and what is this. Because frankly, some my co-founders are really skeptical about Bitcoin and Bitcoin market. So we decided to try it in order to understand for ourselves what is this and how it works. And at this moment, I think this project, this direction is really awesome. I really love it, and I definitely proved that it's a big market with a big, strong community. So the reason why I wanted to make this conversation with you guys is to understand what should be the next step, how to move Bitcoin direction out of the pilot project and make it basically the best of the best. So this is a short background about us. So feel free to ask any other questions if you have.
Yeah, I know we've heard or we've kind of speculated in the Bitcoin community. Can you confirm or deny to us that is the Bitcoin community, the largest or the most active on TradingView currently?
Well, this is really good question, and it really depends on what you mean by the largest. It's definitely one of the most active, specifically in the chat room, and you can clearly see it by the number of messages. As to the number of paid customers, it is definitely not. So the most of our revenue currently we're generating from stock markets users. The same actually about the volume and the number of ideas published. So most of the ideas currently published about Forex and stock markets. So yes and no, but well, let's talk about this later. How maybe to monetize Bitcoin markets more efficiently. So.
Well, yeah, I mean, we can just lead right into that because my understanding is it's very recent. Even when we were putting together some of the outline questions, you guys hadn't integrated Bitcoin as a payment method. So now we see that you've done that. Can you go over the process of onboarding Bitcoin as a payment method and what you've seen so far out of it?
Well, as you just mentioned, we introduced Bitcoin payments recently, so maybe a week ago or something like this. So, one of the main point is that we did it only for annual subscription, which makes the price higher. And we did it specifically because of the one specific reasons. We do not want Bitcoin users to create accounts with Coinbase because it might be an issue from our standpoint. So maybe if we will introduce monthly payments along with annual, it will improve things. But for the last 10 days, we sold something 5 or 6 pro subscription with Bitcoins, which is much lower rate than regular dollar subscriptions.
I'm surprised you sold one. I mean, we don't spend our Bitcoin, we hoard them, and we're all poor because we've just been bag holding for the last 12 months on the downtrend. You know?
Yeah.
Yeah, so this is really interesting point, and please get me right. I do not complain. So I'm just trying to check with you what else we can do to make it more efficient, because we do provide a lot of value for the pro subscribers, and we will keep adding additional features. So what we can do to make this more efficient? Maybe we should. And right now, by the way, we do not offer subscription for add-on studies with Bitcoins. So maybe this will add additional value as well. So just let me know, and we will try it.
Mm-hmm. What you said.
I do think that if you add availability of Bitcoin users to pay with Bitcoin for monthly, 3 months, and like 6-month subscriptions, I think that will definitely open the doors to more users. I'm not going to lie, I was personally waiting for the Bitcoin payments to come in, but I didn't want to subscribe to such a long. I didn't want to pay for such a long subscription. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. But I have a question from this perspective. Well, originally, Bitcoin by itself does not support recurring orders. So
yeah.
in order to support it, you basically need to create account with Coinbase and fund it.
Yeah.
And we internally decided, okay, this is privacy issue, and maybe our Bitcoin users will not be happy with creating accounts with Coinbase and sending money to them. So let's do it without requirements to create account on Coinbase, and this is what we did. So if you say that it's okay and you will be it's not an issue for most of the users to create account and fund it on Coinbase. It's really easy for us to edit.
Yeah.
I think
I think the better. I mean, another option would be to offer for Bitcoin payments maybe 3 monthly subscription rather than having to pay for a whole year. Just pay for 3 months. I mean, I would prefer that than Coinbase.
Yeah, definitely.
You know, because it's a pain in the neck to have to renew every month, but renewing every 3 months is kind of good. You know, it's acceptable compromise for me.
Yeah, it's a decent time.
I mean, the other thing I say is like I pay for the pro membership, you know, like the top membership you can get. Now I did it purely because I value TradingView as a site, and I want it to be there next year. So I just put, you know, so I consider my subscription to TradingView as more like a donation to make sure it's there the following year. But in terms of like what benefits do I actually see by being pro, I couldn't tell you. The only thing I could tell you is that I can have more than one, you know, I can have like split window charts. Apart from, and maybe save a few more. Apart from that, I couldn't tell you what perks I get.
No,
Yeah,
dude.
I mean, I'm not really sure whether, you know, the merits of paid or non-paid subscription. I mean, it's even relevant. I mean, the paid models work. You know, there will always be subscribers. I think the issue for us is what would enable Bitcoin to be, you know, enabled on the platform in a convenient way. And if it was my business, I would offer Bitcoin payment, but I would give a variety of ways to pay, you know, so I wouldn't rule out Coinbase. People who want to use Coinbase, I would let them, you know, I'd have that as a specific option, you know, so you can pay by PayPal, pay by Coinbase, pay by credit card, you know, you can pay by direct Bitcoin transaction, you know, like that. And that way you would kind of get around the thing. And for Coinbase, you can just pay monthly. For direct Bitcoin payment, then you'd have to pay at least quarterly.
Yeah, I agree.
I think there's definite advantages to going to pro. I mean, I'd love to have the 12-hour on TradingView, but I'm not pro, so I can't add custom timeframes. It's one of my favorite timeframes to look at.
And I won't subscribe unless I can pay by Bitcoin. You know, it's one of these things. Like for me, being a name in the Bitcoin trading world, I wouldn't subscribe to a service like this. You know, with my personally identifiable information. You know, I don't mind paying, you know, other things, you know, Amazon and whatnot as myself, but as my alias, I wouldn't do that. You know, so that's a kind of. I think it's really important that they enable Bitcoin payments. Really, really important.
Yeah, thank you very much for your opinions. I really appreciate this. And commenting on what Flibber said, so you can't even imagine how I appreciate this opinion. So the thing is that we are building a freemium service, and we are trying to give you guys for free as many tools as functionality as possible. Yeah. But on the other hand, you should understand that we spend really a lot of money on building on this from the ground. So it's a lot of time and efforts we spend. And even if you do not see any value in the pro features, it's really important for us to receive positive feedback and some Bitcoins just in order to move forward. Because in the future we are going to include more and more better features into the pro subscription and into the free version as well. But in order to do this, we need to generate some revenue to pay for development, to pay for the data, to pay for the hosting, and all this stuff. So I really appreciate this vision from you guys.
Yeah, I mean, another thing that you might want to consider is, I mean, how do you say, when you're looking to receive payments, you know, then it's really the payment methodology is really irrelevant to you as a business. It's just about, you know, if you want people to give you money, you should give them the best variety of ways. If people want to pay you by Western Union, then you should accept, have a way to accept it, and I think if you're integrating cryptocurrencies, then it's probably worthwhile just making your system pluggable so you can add payment methods, like payment modules to your system. So just like you have a module for PayPal or for credit cards, and in the future, services like GoCoin, which they offer cryptocurrency payment, but it's not exclusive to Bitcoin. You can pay by Doge, you can pay by Litecoin as well, and you don't need to get into the nitty-gritty and worry about the different currencies that there are. You just know there's a service provider like GoCoin, and they're a big one, by the way, and that will give you even more reach, for people who want to pay by other alternative currencies.
Do you know if you have to sign up through that though, Drac?
GoCoin, it's not even about whether you have to sign up for it. Like I say, if I was running the business, I would just give all the options. If you want to pay by pure Bitcoin with no identity, no nothing from the payment provider, it's just direct to the to TradingView, then have an option for that. But also for maybe that's okay for Bitcoin, but if you're going to add it for lots of other things, it becomes a maintenance nightmare. And things, there are advantages to using the likes of GoCoin and Coinbase. It's not all about privacy. Not everyone cares about privacy. People do. People trust PayPal's model. Is a very good one. It's the fact that you can give us your information, and you don't have to share it with every website that you buy from. So therefore, there's less chance of your data getting, hacked and compromised because it's in one place rather than several.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you speak to ChangeTip, Bob?
I did. I sent them a request describing what we are doing and asking for the API and help with integration. I did receive one reply from them just yesterday, by the way. So they gave me the contact of lead developers and told that they generally very interested in this cooperation. So at this moment we are on this stage. So I'm waiting for technical details from them.
Great, that's fantastic, because they just secured, I think, like $3.5 million, funding, and Bitcoin, and Bitcoin's main thing, or one of the main things people like to shout about, is the micro tipping. The micro payments, and ChangeTip is the #1 platform for that. You could host a Bitcoin wallet yourself on your own server, and honestly, it's hard work. It's easier to go for a third-party provider, like ChangeTip and stuff like this. And if that gets integrated into Bitcoin, into TradingView as well, that could be. I can see loads of uses for that. Somebody's done a cool chart. Here, I have a micro tip.
It would be fabulous to. That would be fabulous to have tipping in the troll box,
Do you, not so much in the troll box, but I'm sure I've seen somebody's profile on TradingView where I could actually tip them on TradingView.
Yeah, they did integrate that, because I was speaking to them about it, but it's just all it is a Bitcoin address. Now the problem is that my Bitcoin is locked under 10. I have to do 5 steps of verification to add a new address to send a Bitcoin to, and 5 steps of verification to withdraw to the address. I have to get like 3 passwords, email confirmation, 2-factor authentication. To do 10 steps to send somebody 2 cents, it's not worth it. If they just come in the chat and I just go ting, and just tap them 2 cents, great. I'll be tipping.
Tipping is the thing, arguably, which made the Doge community thrive. It was just mental. Like this insane quantities of they were just throwing millions of coins everywhere, and it was just a real thing. So in terms of getting engagement in more engagement in the chat, then that would be a really good thing.
Yeah,
It also
definitely.
incentivizes people to kind of contribute good content, because people who are
Exactly.
making nice charts and stuff and giving good, or even just saying, things that make people laugh or whatever, just, good community stuff, it encourages it.
Exactly. I mean, you think about Dan V, the charts he's produced. I mean, he'd have an absolute boatload of BTC from tips from people saying, "Oh, great! this was a great chart. Have a tip." And yeah, it encourages good quality content.
It's a must, in my opinion, tipping.
Yeah,
Absolute must.
and the thing is, you can then start saying, oh, I have tips from the chat for charts. I have tips from published charts. You can then start counting them. You can then be like, tip pro. Like you've got your reputation ranking on there as well. Here's my tip amalgamation that I've received so far.
That's a good idea. That's a very good idea.
Yeah.
Use that as a social rating. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Because people don't give away money for free.
I like it.
Yeah, this sounds really interesting, and we will do our best to integrate change tip as soon as possible. And let me just add or ask you for additional help and in this matter, because I personally do not have any experience with Bitcoin payments. And if you want us to add additional way of payments or additional, I don't know, services or like this change tip or something else, just let me know, because I'm not a heavy user of Bitcoin, and I might just miss something new and interesting. So from this perspective, feel free to send me a message in the chat via private message or whatever at any time, so we can discuss what is important and what is interesting.
Yeah.
I think, as Drac said, if you utilize GoCoin as your payment processor, not only do you accept Bitcoin, but you also accept Litecoin and Dogecoin as well. I mean, God knows, people are probably bag holding them. They could do spending them somewhere. But they're probably
Absolutely, for sure. Yeah.
Yeah, they're probably the best processor to go for.
And also, as more popular coins come on board, GoCoin said they're gonna, they'll expand for what's popular. So it would be ideal. You might even get more engagement of the altcoin community. I
think there's that weird coin. What's it called? Like Viva coin? What's that?
Divide coin? I remember hearing about that strange one.
Yeah. Plug that out there right now. Yeah, but I think the tipping aspect of it, the tipping implementation on TradingView is not only suitable for normal Bitcoin users on the site, but it's suitable for all the Forex guys, everybody on the site. If you make it easy, tipping will go crazy, and it just encourages good quality content. And the other thing as well is you can actually start. Well, you can just do so much implementation of it. You can pretty much go crazy. So I hope that that you guys can work together, because that would be really good.
And just maybe pivoting a little bit, because we've come up with some a pretty good list of some of the bugs and issues that we have with TradingView. How about we move into like that segment? So, on the published charts, can we include the actual time and time zone for when the chart was published?
Yes, please.
Yes, please.
Yeah, this is really easy. We will do for sure.
Yeah, and the other thing is on the time zones, when you're actually on TradingView, you can't. There's no GMT time zone. Believe it or not.
Which is what all of the, isn't that what all of the other Bitcoin charts go off of?
Yeah, look, you've got UTC, EST, CST, PSC exchange. There's no GMT. And I know quite a few people have requested the GMT.
Yeah, I don't.
You'd need GMT+1 as well for summertime.
Yeah. Oh, look, it's Dan. Dan V's just come in here. Hey, Dan.
Hello, Dan.
Yeah, actually the plan is to make it flexible and to being able to choose any time zone. So we will do this like within next couple of weeks. So it's in our backlog right now.
Yeah. What are your plans with the chat box? Because I know you ruined it when you moved the input to the bottom right. I know you ruined it again when you added the arrows to downvote stuff.
Oh yeah.
What's the plan now? Yeah, what else is in stock that we don't know about?
Well, so what we did recently, we improved a little bit the standalone version. So if you use detached version of the chat, it's now more flexible, and specifically it's now designed for the devices. And also today or tomorrow we will release improvements for the chat history. So you will be able to search by user and do more additional filters in the chat history. So at this moment, this is everything we keep in mind, other than change tip service to be integrated in the chat. So this is everything we wanted to do for the chat improvements. And if you guys have something in mind, just let me know. Other than this, I do not want to give you any other features you will be able to exploit, like this rating or something. So
Yeah, sure. I can't. Yeah, I actually had another idea as well. Is like quite often, like, because I made that chat bot, the one I think Bion Purple kept banning, and one thing I included on that chat. Have you been on the Whale Club site, Bob? Have you been on that?
yeah, I've been there.
Yeah, so I mean, basically, like this is like the reason why people like this site is because it does some of the things TradingView doesn't do. It's like if I do a chart and I just stick it in the chat, I'm just going to stick it in the chat. Do I want to publish that chart? Not really, because I do like 30 charts a day, so publishing like 30 charts a day is just, I get unfollowed, you know what I mean? It's just not that convenient. But at the same time, I want to go into the chat. I want to go into like all the people I follow. I want to see their charts. When I go into the chat, I want to see all their charts, and I don't want to see any of the text. And that's what Whale Club does. So I can go to Whale Club, and I don't have to read out what everybody's typed. I can just look at everybody's charts. And I mean, it's coming. I'll say it's coming that, I'll soon be able to follow like Jozaboy and Tutti and Magnus, and then when I come on, I can just see, instead of seeing everybody's charts, I can just see all those charts of people I follow, because people publish a lot of charts and they're very fresh and live, but people don't want to actually full on publish them. Do you know what I mean?
We've got bags on OKCoin, by the way.
What did you say, Bob?
I said that this definitely makes sense. So we can do the same type of filter built in our chat. So are you saying that you need the charts for the people you follow, not all the charts?
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, the other thing that this has got as well is like the alerts. I don't know if you've looked at the alerts on Whale Club. Have you looked at that?
No, never seen it.
Okay, so the alerts on Whale Club is basically, it's specifically about Bitcoin. I mean, because what you have at the moment is, you have these price alerts. You can set like indicator alerts. Incidentally, I can only set an indicator alert like once at one point, like 1 day in advance. I'm thinking, God, I want an indicator alert that says when this value gets to this, I want it to alert me all the time, and I don't want to be putting in this dodgy email at my mobile provider. I want to put in, country code and my mobile number, because my mobile provider doesn't have a email to text service, so I can't get the text messages. I need to put in my mobile phone. You need to use a proper SMS gateway.
Well, yeah, absolutely. This is a known issue, and I know that what we did, this is actually a workaround. The only reason why we did it, because as I know, we need to pay extra for each message we send, and it's free if we use email. So at some point, we definitely need to connect some solid gateway.
Yes, you do.
But, yeah, and we will definitely do it. We just need to decide how to do it from the point of view of cost of the messages. So we need maybe to take some money so you pay for the message by yourself, or make it free for pro subscribers or whatever. But we definitely cannot allow to use it for all free members just because of the additional costs of the messages.
Yeah. I mean, there you go. That's another perk for being a pro subscriber, then, isn't it? But I mean, so say you've actually put in a proper SMS gateway, and that's all cool. Very happy. So so these indicator alerts as well, while it's still on my head. Yeah, I want to set a recurring indicator alert for forever. I just want to say every time this goes to this, alert me. No questions asked. But I can only set one once at one point in the future right now, which is a bit rubbish.
I'm afraid I did not understand your question. At this moment, you should be able to set up.
If I set. If I set an alert right now, if you look at my screen, so I want to set one for like when, I don't know, the flipper indicator, say greater than value, is it BNCY, the flipper indicator, plot, so the EMA, so greater than lala, frequency once per bar. See, rearm every 10 minutes. Yeah, okay, rearm every 10 minutes. Expiration. Expiration. Look, expiration. It has to expire.
Well, yes. This is actually the expiration is also a small workaround we introduced just because. To limit, just because we are running everything on the server, and we need to pay for this server, and we do not want, in the end of the day, we do not want 1 million alerts just running, and nobody cares about this. That is why we introduce this expiration time in order to cancel unnecessary alerts for the people who create it and forget about this. At this moment, frankly, we do not know how to handle this properly. One of the solutions is to allow pro members to make forever alerts. This is one of the solutions. I don't know. Maybe you have another ideas.
Okay, if you can see my screen, another idea I come up with, because like on the Whale Club, one thing we have is like just sticking with alerts. Like basically we have volume alerts, like huge sell on on one of the exchanges, huge buy on one of the exchanges. It would be nice to see those actually come up here. Yeah, and I don't need a pop-up window because that's annoying. Just have it come up in my chat as a notice, because you have the chat stream right now. But what about notices that come up in the chat? So if I want to message Woodman, or I want to tip Woodman, or I want to interact with the the TradingView server bot, to pull up some like data or something, I just can get the notices rather than dealing with it in PM, because I never even check the PM. But if you had the notices that come up in the chat stream, you just gotta have, and you could like subscribe. So you could type in like Ash, you know, if you can see my screen, I might type in something like $, TV bot, whatever the name is, or maybe I just do $. I'd just say you could do $help to get the commands, and you could subscribe alerts. You do like subscribe help. You had to pull up the help data. You could do subscribe alerts help to pull up the alerts. But maybe do subscribe alerts, Bitstamp, BTC USD, and I'll just do, and that'll be it. Right, maybe I do a greater than 50 BTC or some weird thing like that.
Correct. Yeah. So it sounds like you won't use chat as a command line, basically, right?
Yeah, exactly. And I want to subscribe to those specific types of alerts, and then have them come up in the actual chat as well.
Well, I see your point, and in general, I like the idea. The only issue is that you guys, most of you, I think, really heavy chat users. And if you think about somebody who does not care about chat, so he will never know about this functionality or will not be able to understand and use it. So this is the only issue from my standpoint. So introducing some really cool functionality which will be limited only by the group of people who use chat heavily, right? But in general, yeah, why not? I really like this logic.
See what I just typed there? Notification method. You know, you could have like notification help. Yeah, it brings up the option. Notification method help. Notification method help, and then it tells me, you know, you can either have notifications via, you know, notice, or maybe it'd be just called like inline, and the other one would be called PM. So then I just do a notification method set, you know, set inline or something like that, or set PM. So you could set it to what you want as well. You know, you could have it. I mean, you could have it so you can like really like, you know, tell it exactly what you want, and then you'd have like, you know, loads of. I mean, people could just suggest all the stuff they want, couldn't they? Suggest, you know, whatever. Ban Woodman, troll, you know, whatever, you know. But yes, I think that's a must as well. Got to be done. But I've got this bar drawn up on my screen. I don't know if you can see it. And like, this is another idea I come up with. Just pretend this whole bar is colored in, and this bar is an extension pop out from the chat. Yeah, it like pops out, not per user, but maybe pops out through a little button, like here or something like that. I don't know. Maybe, you know, wherever you put this button anyway. And on this pop out, what you have is something like sentiment index. Then maybe have like 1 hour, 24 hour, you know, whatever.
Hey guys, can you hear me here?
Yeah, we can hear you.
It's Jordan, perfect. Okay, thanks.
So yeah, you could have like sentiment index, bull or bear. You could have like who's online, you know, number of users, 1,300 users, you know, in the chat. And like, I want to see you know, like of my favorite users who's online and stuff like this. So all this is kind of like cool stuff that helps, you know, the bull bear sentiment index is just like who's posting charts that have been tagged long. And like the thing I thought was that is above the chat box, right, you could actually have 3 buttons. This was like something, because like, you know, you can have like 2 buttons. You have like short, you know, long, and neutral, and like this just kind of like, and then when you post a chart, you know, just in the chat, you can just post it. You can just tag it short, long, or neutral, or tag your username short, long, or neutral, and that can pull it up on the sentiment index as well, or something as well. That was another idea I had.
That's a really nice idea. I like that a lot.
Thanks.
It's like, you know, crowdsourcing sentiment, I think, is a really useful thing.
It's the best contrarian indicator out there.
I know.
Well, the only question I have about this sentiment is, so short, long, neutral. What about symbols? So because the different users might have completely different list of symbols, and and also you might have multiple chart layout with different symbols. So how should we also have a symbol edit right here in the chart, or you would prefer to take it from the active chart?
I think you got to kiss it, haven't you? Keep it simple. You've got to just say.
Sentiment is about people's feeling at the moment. It doesn't really matter what their signals or the data is. I mean, most people are just running high on emotion. That's their signal. Doesn't really matter.
Yeah. So I think you'd have to what you're saying is you've got OKCoin, US, BTC USD, BTC CNY. I think you've just got to just create a map, haven't you? All the Bitcoin exchanges, all the Litecoin exchanges, and then anybody that posts anything long on any of those is part of the the long crew.
Yep.
And maybe under sentiment index, maybe you just have it would just pull that off whatever your existing chart is. So my chart here is Bitcoin, Yuan, OKCoin. So that'll just pull up the sentiment index for all of Bitcoin. If I'm looking at a Litecoin chart, it'll pull it up for all of Litecoin. And if I'm looking at a mixed chart, well then it just say error, blue screen, or something. I don't know.
Well, yeah, just don't take it. Don't ignore the sentiment from it. Keep it simple. I think that's the best way. Just keep it simple.
Just keep it simple. Yeah.
Okay. By the way, I keep adding notes about everything we discussed at this moment. So, but what I would ask you when we compile a list of improvements, it would be great to, in the end of the day, to set the priorities for them, because we will need to spend some time to implement each of these features. And it would be great if you guys decide what is the most important, what is the first, what is the next, because we are limited in the resources. We cannot do everything at once. So I would ask you to provide priorities of these tasks.
Yeah, that's a good thing. I mean, to be honest, it's you've got to say what inspires your developers, because if they're working on something they don't really care about or believe in, then they'll probably be unproductive and unmotivated anyway. If they also think it's a good idea and they're excited and enthusiastic about it, maybe it's worth doing that one because they'll put a good job in. That would be what I'd say.
Are you referring to the chart TV style and the Pro? Yeah.
You're just referring to new ideas. But I mean, for me, number one priority would be change tip, without a doubt.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that was big news. That was big news for you guys. I mean, I saw that all over the internet a couple days ago, so that's what made me come back and check it out. So, looking forward to it, and I will be getting Pro myself.
Oh yeah, to see that TradingView accepted Bitcoin.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah, I did see that made the front page of Reddit, so yeah, that's cool. I mean, I think it is a number one Bitcoin trading platform out there. But I mean, just to rattle off the next one as well, is if you look at the indicators list, I don't know what you guys think about this, but I just think this needs an overhaul, and especially if you've got the micro tipping as well through the change tip. People can say when I'm looking at these marketplace add-ons, I think the presentations of them bit lame, but yeah, I mean, if you integrated change tip as well, if I could just go to click and just buy instantly through what BTC I've got on my change tip. If this is integrated with change tip and I can just subscribe and buy these indicators, with my change tip balance. And maybe if I don't even have to be a pro user to buy them, and I can just use my change tip account. Because if you guys want to host like Bitcoin accounts, you got to do loads of work to keep it secure. Just let change tip sort it all out, and just allow people to buy things with change tip, like these indicators and stuff. If the developer like is willing to accept Bitcoin for them or stuff as well, and especially like the public library ones, like all the lazy bear indicators. Does he want to accept Bitcoin for them, and he can just go, just change tip for them and stuff like that?
Yep.
I think there's a lot of scope for improvement on this.
The thing that ChangeTip kind of really gives is the ability. I mean, this whole micropayment thing, just to be able to spend $1 on a widget or a chart or whatever, there and then, one click, no registration, no all this bullshit. I think that's really that would be a big revenue generator.
I can't believe they got $3 million in funding the other day there too. That's insane.
Yeah, I mean, if say like Lazy Bear, say he's done like 200 indicators, and he's got a tip thing on there, and he gets tipped $1 per indicator. That's $500. Is he going to get $500 worth of tips a week, a month? I don't know. But at the moment, he does all these indicators, and they're all just for free. Now he can still keep it for free, but integrate the change tip on there, and they'll be like, amalgamate it on his stats page as well.
Well, the Doge community proved beyond a shadow of a doubt that microtipping is a thing. People will do it. Yeah. People are very happy to spend small amounts of money on stuff on impulse. Could be very good.
And the other major thing is as well is I don't know if you guys have experienced this, but have you ever tried accessing TradingView from your mobile?
Oh yeah.
I haven't. I didn't know that was available, but mind you, I just got an Android phone a couple of weeks ago.
I was meaning to ask, is there anything in line for like an Android app for TradingView?
Well, this is really good and important question because, first of all, it depends on what you mean by the Android app, for example. So, because it could be the fully functional version with mobile version of the chart, with all the features and functionality, or it might be something simplified, which includes just, for example, alerts, notifications, and chat, and maybe a really simple version of charts.
Yeah.
Because I think now that so everything is on HTML5, and you can basically run it on any device. The problem, and we know about this problem for sure, that the charting is really complicated and too functional for the small devices. So in most cases, you cannot control it good enough. The dialog windows are too big, something like this. And from this perspective, it would be interesting to know your opinion. So how do you see this application? What it should be in the end of the day?
I wasn't thinking of anything like spectacular for the Android app. I'm just talking basic, basic functionality, a few indicators, maybe custom indicators possibly, basic drawing tools, and just the ability to chart, really. There isn't really anything which is quite good for Android phones. Bitcoin Wisdom's okay, but it still doesn't let you go. I can't scroll back through the chart through Bitcoin Wisdom. Stuff like that. I can't really draw that well on my phone either.
I never even knew they had an app, Wisdom, for
no,
Android.
No, they don't. I just mean through the website. They don't even have an app. I just go on the browser.
And I think if you get, it's like having an IRC client on your phone. I mean, it might be a little too much because of all the activity, right? So everything's just scrolling. I mean, just to have a chat feature on a mobile device. I don't know. That might be a little too much. Yeah.
Vix, you want to say something about the mobile thoughts? I've got thoughts on it too, but go on. What are you going to say?
Yeah, I just and I was slightly it's really early in the morning, so I was getting my coffee. I might have missed this too. It just, I load up a chart that I want, and it like my phone times out before it gets loaded, and then by the time I swipe back in, it's reloading, and sometimes I don't ever get access to the charts. Is that more server related, or I also think just the chat or the trading view in general at times can be very, very laggy with its servers. Can you go? I'm not a technical guy, so can you kind of go into that a little bit?
This definitely not related to our servers, because we did not expect any major issues recently. So maybe what specifically are you using? I mean, device, browser.
Yeah, I got the LG G3 Android, and just with the Chrome browser. Do you recommend some other browser? Is that something that would probably help me out?
I also use Chrome.
Actually, Chrome is the best one. So because it's the well, could you please send me a private message with additional details about your device and version of the browser, and we will just run the tests in order to understand what's going on. Because there are so many browser versions and devices and everything, so sometimes it might be an issue with versions or technology, so it's really hard to say.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I did notice, sometimes we get a little indicator heavy, and that, massively slows down the calling time to get my stuff displayed. So, just a thought, because a lot of the things, to do something quickly on my mobile with TradingView is kind of not feasible right now. So. It does actually format pretty decent on the phone I have now, but there may be some other people in here with maybe smaller screens. I don't even know with the iOS client that didn't size, because my old phone was horrible. There was like nothing I could really see on that one, but this one I can.
Yeah, I've got a Note 4, and if I try and go on a chart on my phone, I just end up messing all my chart up. So I try not to do it.
I'm trying to upload an image right now of what my phone looks like, because I've got a Galaxy S5, and all the right-hand side, chat panel, all that stuff just doesn't even load. But it's not scaled properly, for mobile devices.
Mm-hmm.
So I think from a mobile perspective, there's just no point trying to load it up. It takes so long to load up, and nothing works on it anyway. So.
Just a curious question here. What are you guys using for the back end for the side chat there? Is it an actual IRC back end or HTML5 add-in?
We do not use IRC, so the chat is our. So we developed it from scratch by our own, because for us it's much easier to support and improve it.
Right.
So technically it's running on the Amazon servers hosting.
Cool.
Yeah, and returning back to the mobile application. So this is our big priority for the future. It's not easy to do, because it's a little bit different technology and approach. Right now we spend most of our resources to to add new features like trading, backtesting, and so on. But we will definitely spend some time to create mobile apps, and based on what we just discussed, we will make it something really simple in order to create simple chart and receive your messages and run chat. So pretty simple stuff. Yeah.
I mean, that's it. I mean, if I just put a screenshot of my phone in the chat, I've actually got on screen share as well, and you can see, like, this is how it looks on my phone, and you can see the whole right column is just gone. And I mean, you got to think, what do you really want to do when you log in on your phone? All you want to do really is probably pull up, you probably want to pull up a few things, either the chat to see what everybody else is pumping out and the sentiment is, or you want to pull up your own charts and have a look, just load them up, maybe change the time frame and have a look, see what your indicators and all that stuff look like, on your charts. So I think it doesn't have to be too much.
And I think given the real estate size, the text is going to be so small you might not be able to read it. You'll have to zoom at that point, right?
Yeah.
Is trading down for you guys, by the way?
Sorry?
I'm getting 500 internal server error messages.
That's fine.
No. Restart my browser. Sorry, carry on.
Working. But yeah, so I don't think it has to be much. I mean, I can't see anybody drawing trend lines or putting fib lines up on their S5 while they're on the bus. But just to be able to see your charts and then say, oh look, I know what my readings are. I know what my indicators should look like. I'm on the bus. I'm looking at 15-minute Willy. It's absolutely off the chart. Okay, I'll flick back to my OKCoin app and then I'm going to sell. But whereas it is at the moment, you just can't do anything. So that's pretty much all I would like to see off that in terms of making it useful.
Flipper, do you want to go into a little bit about the private message encryption? I was just looking through some of the stuff that we brought up.
Yeah, because that's another thing. Somebody told me that the mods can read all your private messages, and I didn't like that.
Well, it's definitely not true. Well, frankly, I think that developers can do it because in the end of the day, all these messages, we keep all these messages in the database on the server. So if necessary, the developers can have access, but definitely not the mod. So there is no way that they can do it. And if somebody shared this information, it wasn't true for sure.
Because my idea was to basically, each account has a public and private key, and that's generated via JavaScript in the browser and stored encrypted via JavaScript AES encrypted password. So the private key, your private key, is encrypted in the browser, and then when you initiate a chat with somebody, you create a shared public key to a shared key for that chat. So basically, there is no way anybody can read your chat messages as well. Nobody, even the server doesn't have access to them. So chat messages are private.
Encryption is a very big, it's a very big demand these days.
Yeah, I completely agree on this. There is a really big trend of encrypted messages. There are a lot of applications which currently support it. I think even WhatsApp recently introduced the encryption. So yeah, why not? Let me discuss this with developers. And again, let me remind you that we can discuss as many features as we can, but we need set the priorities for them. So because as you can see, I definitely like most of your ideas because most of them really make sense. But this doesn't mean that we'll be able to implement everything tomorrow.
Yeah.
So, and if you want to implement something the most important tomorrow, you need to tell me, yeah, this is the most important, this is the second one.
Sure.
Yeah, can you, do you have, like, where is the direction of some of the alerts going? Is there some more stuff in the pipeline? Because Marcus was saying to get like a, a trend line alert or something to that effect.
Yeah, this is our main, the next biggest feature. So just for your understanding, so the alerts in general is our big direction, and we are going to improve it on the regular basis. So what we released recently, this is just the first step, and now it's even in a better stage because we're optimizing servers. The next step is alerts on drawing tools. So basically, we'll be able to apply alert not only on trend lines, but on all other drawing tools. Also, we will add alert-specific function into the fine script, so you will be able to generate and control almost any custom condition within script and generate alert on it. So this is the two main next big features for the alerts, and we will decide then. It will depend on feedback from the community.
Alright, cool. Yeah, we're just going to, we've gotten through much of the Google document. Some of the stuff we suggest are very, very simple improvements. But now that we have this panel assembled, I was just going to go down the panel and see, the people that have been waiting and wanting to ask their question, just give them a chance to chime in about anything that they have. But I wanted to start with Dan V. Hopefully he's got his mic on if he wanted to say anything now that he's here. Dan, you got your mic on?
Hi there.
Hey, Dan.
Hi. This is all very high tech. It's really beyond my knowledge of experience. I understand the various features are very useful, and I go along with some of the suggestions made by Fiber there. But I don't really have extensive experience in using different platforms and in technological terms. But when I'm doing charting, that is where I would appreciate whatever features that I think I need. But I'm really a little bit out of water here in making any positive contribution to the discussion.
Well, Dan, if I can just plug you on one particular line, I've seen you a few times in the chat, and we all know the quality of the chat is important, because if it just gets filled full of users just talking crap or people creating bots that are ruining the chat, Flibber, then we might have we obviously it's good to keep it important. I mean, you're a mod, Dan. What do you think? Go on, have a say on that. Give us your thoughts.
I think there have been various discussions, even in the trading view, to see how to improve the quality of chat and the participants interacting with each other. And there are times where, from my personal experience, I think people are a lot more like a juvenile. I don't know whether that is because of the age group, or they just, they feel that in anonymous chat room they can basically just say whatever they want, how they want. I don't necessarily approve of their manner of interacting, but it seems that there seems to be a certain degree of normality in the way that they do. But if there was a feature whereby an individual to really actively participate, they would have to earn respect from the rest of the community.
I agree.
So if, for example, somebody just comes up and all they use is 4-letter words and all insulting things and all negative things, then obviously they wouldn't have necessarily approval from the rest of the community. So they should be restricted.
They aren't
And,
really
and
contributing
those
to
who
the
genuinely
yeah.
participate, make positive contribution, then others will appreciate that, and they should then rise in a ranking whereby they can continue either to improve the environment of the chat room, or make positive contribution in terms of educating people and generally assisting them in whatever way, even in making their own particular thoughts known. If they feel they have an idea that they want to share, may not be right, but at least it's done in a constructive way. So some feature that stops or disables or limits the nonsense element, that would really be helpful.
Hey Dan, I'm wetting myself to jump in here because you have struck upon possibly not the most important thing, but such an important thing, and that is, how do you determine who is a quality user and who isn't? And
Yeah.
TradingView has the existing reputation system, and that needs to be built on, like the change tip can be built on, like the voting thing for the the up and down vote for the charting in the chat. That was cool, but anybody could do it. So you just went and created a shitload of accounts and you can just thrash it. Now, in terms of like who can chat and who can't, maybe their reputation has got to be greater than X. And to have a reputation greater than X, you have like a reward system, don't you? Post so many charts in the chat, publish so many charts, have been a member so long. Things take time, it takes credibility. And when you build up that credibility and respect, you don't want to throw it away as well. A ban
Exactly.
maybe is negative credibility.
Yeah, I mean, when somebody comes on, nobody knows who they are. They could be excellent people, and then others may be just troublemakers. So there has to be, I think, some period whereby their interaction would be limited by very nature,
Yeah.
at least in the chat room. Now they can have their own homepage or profile page where they can publish ideas, or where they can invite other people to look at. So people will then, out of choice, will look at the published material. So during that period, I think there would have to be some sort of a reward system, but not in the way that somebody who doesn't agree with you, so they just go on and bang on minus 10 points. Because that would not be, because there are some people, given the chance, they would do that. But if you continue to publish good chat, I mean, for example, I'll give you my idea, my own personal experience. Is I've been with the TradingView now almost 2 years or a little over, and when I first came on, I was new to everybody and nobody knew me. I interacted with some people, and by very nature, I never really abused whatever facilities are available. I never abused that, not in my nature. But I started publishing charts, and people look at it. And those who agree with the chart, there are some good quality chartists, and they will appreciate a decent analysis. Whether it's right or wrong, it doesn't matter. But using common approaches and standard approaches, or any particular style, and if they see a logic in it, people will agree with it. People give you thumb up. People will start putting comments on. So in your probation period, as it were, you would earn a certain minimum threshold when you can then start interacting with your ideas in the chat. So unfortunately, somebody who comes in might think, well, that is really not right. But there's no 100% answer to any of these. So if somebody comes on and they have to be in probation for at least a month, say, I think it's a reasonable time for him to earn a minimum points, and he can only do that by being positive in publishing his ideas on his own homepage. And then once he reaches the minimum threshold, he can then begin to interact with the common chat, and even in that, he would still be under probation. So if, for example, people start ignoring him because he's being very destructive or very negative about things, then he would lose that credibility, and he would be back to his his profile page rather than being able to interact with the common chat. And there are some individuals who come in, and everybody gets really they back up against them, and they'll start ignoring them. So if you get so many people ignoring you, something has to be wrong.
Yeah, I agree. Now, so the issue then is, okay, I'm not allowed to type in the chat, and nobody's following me, so I publish my ideas. So how do I begin to build my reputation? how do I begin to build my credibility? And Bob, if you're familiar with the site Stack Overflow, you'll know that if you want to downvote somebody's idea, you have to have a credibility greater than whatever. And so what one system is, you could say, like, you're allowed to publish charts, and you can downvote those charts, but you've got to have good credibility to do that, high credibility.
Yes.
And if you say somebody posts a question on the TradingView kind of Stack Exchange, like, I'm trying to create a Bitcoin account, which exchange is best, and they can't use the chat yet, but they can go and contribute and be productive by adding value and answering those questions, they'll then get upvotes for that and achieve credibility like that as well. So that's one way how you could go about that.
Yes. Yes, I agree. I think there has to be a mixture, and there has to be reasonable balance, and it will never satisfy everybody. That's the one thing.
Is standard moderation the way to go here? I mean, this sounds very draconian, very, I wouldn't want to be part of that, quite frankly.
This is a way Stack Exchange works, because it's an automated way of producing quality content.
Yeah, but it's quite a different. You can't really compare Stack Overflow. I mean, Stack Overflow is people asking technical questions and then people giving technical responses to that, and it kind of gets upvoted and downvoted. It's sort of, I think it's quite a different.
The problem is, I can create a bot that can start registering. I can go and buy 10,000 Yahoo accounts. I can create a bot that's going to start registering accounts on TradingView. It's then going to start using the API and fetching the emails off Yahoo email accounts. I can do it through proxy IPs. I can do it through whatever usernames, random usernames and random time intervals. I can build up an account of 20,000 user accounts. And nothing that won't fix a problem. The only way to fix a problem is to say each user account must have some level of, reputation. And I think.
What problem are you trying to solve here? Because it sounds more like it's creating a problem than solving.
This isn't creating a problem. The problem trying to solve is people like that Privium or whatever that has just been running into the chat, hasn't even uploaded a profile picture. And just, there's another one, SS, there's another one, Banker.
Just moderate them. Moderate them. Bloody BTC. Trollbox manages it quite well.
Thing about this is that
we have an IRC channel. If people come in, and create problems, they just get booted out. It's the end of story. That's not a problem. It really is not a problem.
Go on, Dan.
When you have a public chat like the one on a TV. And we as mods, are freely offering our services in moderating. But my view is that why should a grown-up person need somebody to do babysitting? If a grown-up person who wants to come and interact like a grown-up, and he needs somebody to babysit him, then he shouldn't really be here.
The problem with what you two have been saying is you're making the presupposition that people who come are it's making the presupposition of people being criminals as opposed to the presupposition that everyone is cool, and that you should weed out the people who are problematic. If the people are problematic, you just ban them. They eventually get tired. I've run very large chat rooms, and people go away if you ban them.
Yeah, I agree with what you're saying. So if you approach that particular method, then you would have to have a system which would somehow penalize somebody who does not behave at an acceptable level, and then that individual would be banned. So what we'll have then is what we are doing in a moderator room here is, as a moderator, we see somebody not really acting acceptably, we warn them, we consider banning them. But if you have no means of monitoring them at all, who's going to do the monitoring?
Well, you have moderators.
So
the whole thing is it should be social.
Sorry?
The thing should be social. I mean, this is how moderators work. In the BTC Trollbox, not that I frequent there very much, but they have a system of, you can ban people for a certain period of time, as well.
Right, that works effectively nice. For the Trollbox.
That's really nice. You kind of, if someone makes a minor infraction, you can ban them for 20 minutes and tell them, stop doing that. If they continue, you give them a 3-day ban, a 5-day ban. Eventually, people behave,
You can do that.
They don't even give a warning, though. It just happens.
I'm going to steer this conversation a little bit just because we're getting a little bit off topic and we only have Bob here for a certain amount of time. I think it's all good discussion within our community, and I'm very interested in it. But let's just go down the panel and see if anybody has any more specific technical related questions that would get us back to the TradingView charts and, you know, bettering that product for our community. So Adam, do you got anything? I know you've been sitting quiet. Do you got your mic on?
He might be at work.
He might be. That's okay.
I will mute myself if that's okay with you.
Yeah. Okay, Dan.
All right. Jordan, do you got anything?
No, nothing on my end. That's good. You guys answered everything there.
Thanks for coming on the Hangout. Marcus, you got your mic on?
No.
If not, we can come back. Tootie?
I've already asked my questions. The main thing for me is Android app, Android app, Android app, Android app, Android app.
Yeah, I definitely echo that as well.
Yeah, and just helping out with working on the Bitcoin subscriptions. You know, the 3 month, 6 month, etc. Just those are my main two questions, really.
All right, cool. Yolo Bear, you got anything for Bob?
No, not really. Everything was good.
All right, cool. So we'll just kind of wrap it up then. Flipper, do you got anything else that you want to say in closing?
I would just say thanks for reaching out, Bob. It's great to have people reaching out because you know, you can always collectively pull loads of cool ideas. For me, it's change tip, change tip, change tip. You know, the 3-bang iteration on that, and also the server chat bot thing for like sentiment, long, short, you know, all that cool stuff. Really like, as well as everything you've put in the chat. So, yeah.
Cool.
Oh,
And
I got one quick thing. Did you guys ever talk about futures charting?
no. What do you want to bring up about that, Yolo?
Do you guys use it?
I don't use the futures charts and TradingView. No.
Why
I did
why
not either.
I haven't because they've been so buggy lately.
Okay, that could be an issue. I've heard people mention that it's buggy. I haven't used it just because other people said it was buggy. Maybe that could be something that should be looked at.
I think that needs to get fixed because I mean it's the sort of highest trading volume thing at the moment, isn't it? Futures.
Yeah. What about you, Bob? What's your thoughts?
Are we talking about Bitcoin futures, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The OKCoin one specifically.
Yeah, the story is that we did have technical issues with OKCoin, and we resolved them just recently. So I'll check it for you and send you updates tomorrow if we still have something with the futures, because they've been resolving this on their side. So probably we will fix everything really soon if they already did it. So I'll check it for sure.
All right. And Bob, do you have any final thoughts before we just close this out here?
Yeah, absolutely. So first of all, a quick comment about this long discussion regarding moderation and quality insurance for the chart. The thing is that in general, I really like the way of your thinking, and in my opinion, we definitely need to do something about this. And by the way, that was the main reason why we were trying to introduce this voting system, in order to allow community like auto-moderate it by itself. The problem from our side is that in general we see the problem, and in general we do understand that it needs to be solved, but it's really important to come up with a solid logic and a solid decision on how specifically it should work. Because as somebody mentioned absolutely correctly, there is a big difference between us and Stack Overflow, for example. So we can try to use their logic, but it's a different world. So it will not work for us. So I would appreciate if we keep discussing this, maybe arrange another meeting to discuss this topic specifically. I think it's important, but we need to come up with a like formula or rules or whatever, which will work for everybody. So this is my quick comment. In general, guys, I really enjoy. Thank you very much for your time. Thank you very much for your efforts. So this is really amazing because, like, we never did it with Forex community or stock community. So you're so proactive, and I really appreciate it. So if you see any value or things that information I can provide is valuable, let's do it on regular basis. I have no issues with this. I would be happy to share any information with you. So it's, again, I enjoy it.
And on those same lines, how can people get in contact with you? I know there's the @TradingView on Twitter. Do you have a Twitter that you personally use, or what's the best way for people to get in contact with you?
Well, the best way is to use TradingView Twitter, because I read it on a regular basis, or email founders@tradingview.com. So this is what I read on a regular basis as well. So like every 5 minutes. So email is even better, because in Twitter sometimes there are too many unconnected messages. Email I read like every 5 minutes.
Did you say that was founders@tradingview.com?
Yeah.
Okay. I'll include that in the show notes as well.
Yep. And again, I know I told this 2 times or 3 times, but please remember about the priorities, because sometimes I have an issue with our users, because somebody asks something and my reply is, yes, this is a good idea, and this user returned back in 5 months and asking, oh, where is this? You told this is a good idea. The problem with this is that it's all about the priorities. Yes, I think this is a good idea, but we do not have enough development resources to implement this. So from this perspective, considering everything we discussed, I still expecting from you this list, but with priorities, because Flipper thinks that change tip is the most important. The other opinion is about Android apps. Somebody wants futures and so on. All this may be not huge task, but if you sum up everything, this would be a lot of work. So please understand this, and please try to put priorities on your requests.
You know, there might be a way you could help with that. It doesn't even have to be something you build. You could use something like Use a Voice, one of these crowdsourced things, and you could just basically make a little poll that people in TradingView can click, which they want.
We already use their main competitor, which is GetSatisfaction.
Right.
So, but again, this is a little bit different, because if you go to GetSatisfaction, you will see that there are like 10,000 ideas there, and there
sure,
are.
I'm not talking about asking for ideas. I'm talking about a poll specifically for these things that we've listed that need to be fixed or made, and then if people vote according to that, then you can work on what the crowd says is most important. You see? So like one is an Android app. How if you were going to list them from 1 to 10, which is most important? The Android app, fixing futures, having the change tip, like this, then and you've got, if you put that on TradingView itself, say these are the features we are going to work on. Which do you want first?
I don't know, but
which do you want second?
frankly, at this moment, this is not specifically what I'm asking for. So I really want your person, so like 10 of you. So the leaders of Bitcoin community tell me what is the most important. Because again, sometimes if you try to ask everybody, you will have like moving average on ideas.
So how about we get Flibber after this chat's over to just make a straw poll, and he can feed that information.
Absolutely, that is exactly what I'm asking for.
Okay.
Somebody who will manage and lead this and tell me, okay, this is what we decided.
Sounds good.
All right, yeah. I mean, us traders are such a demanding bunch. We want everything, and we want it right now or yesterday. So
yeah, I know, right?
I appreciate
I'd just
it.
like to say thank you very much for reaching out. This is the most impressive thing where, big providers like TradingView, I mean, OKCoin did it recently, and it really raises your profile, it really makes us feel connected, that you guys are listening, and that you're actually interested in what we're doing, sort of.
Yeah, I second that.
And go ahead.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you very much. And again, let's keep doing this if you see value.
Yeah, thanks again for coming on, Bob. And just to close it out, you can find me at Bitcoin Bravo, Flibber at Flibber, at BTC Drake, all on Twitter, and then you'll find the rest of our community over on the TeamSpeak channel, the BTC Trader Squawk box, which I'll include in the show notes. So
I'm also on Twitter, BTC Tootie.
all right, get that in there. Thanks for coming out, guys.